I want to talk a little bit about the story of the prodigal son. Oftentimes, maybe you're like this too. I won't share something because I feel like it's such a simple idea, such a simple thought. Everybody surely knows that, right? Just keep my mouth shut. And then there'll be times when I'll study something, I'll think about something, I'll know it up here, I'll think I grasp it, and then like a light bulb goes off and all of a sudden it clicks. Well, something like that happened today with me reading Luke 15 and the story of the prodigal son. And what you realize is the importance of differentiating between being led by the Spirit and the flesh. And everyone in this world is led by the flesh. Now, if there's any non-believers looking at this, you have to get past that construct, that wall that's keeping you from believing in a creator, a God. But forget that for a second. Think if there is someone that created the universe and everything in it, including us, our flesh, these bodies, how we think, everything inside of us, it has to operate outside of space and time. And it's hard to imagine there being human bodies out there. So what is that? That's a spirit. That is a listless, a formless entity. And a lot of times we'll call that love. God is love, right? It's a spirit. And the spirit has the power of the word. And the word really did create into existence us. He breathed life into us from dust. Now, digress. Accepting that there is a creator that is outside space and time, and he sees his creation separating themselves from him, but he wants to get across the message of the difference of the flesh versus the spirit. But people are hard-hearted and hard-headed and all sorts of hard and thick-skinned and tough and aren't getting it and continue to rebel against him. What does he do? There's a whole blood covenant. There's a whole storyline throughout the Bible that builds up to this and then climaxes and then has us waiting for the ultimate grand finish, the second coming. But what he did is he took his spirit, he put it in the form of his son in a human body in Jesus Christ and brought him to earth to share the truth of what it means to live in the spirit versus living in the flesh, to try to open our eyes and our limited five senses to the reality that is beyond what we can comprehend. Proverbs 3:5 has been the calling card. Lean not on my own understanding, but trust in the Lord with all your heart, mind, and soul. That's a very hard thing to do when the flesh and the world is showing you one thing that just doesn't make sense. I mean, I could think about gravity and how I'm on this side of the earth, and to think that on the other end, there's an ocean beneath me on the other end, but it's not falling into space. Random thought. There's so many things that we cannot comprehend, but we accept, right? So let's accept there's a creator. The prodigal son. We all know the story. You can go read it. Luke 15. Luke 15. Sorry. 11 to 32. Luke 15, 11 to 32, if you want to read it. It's the story of a farmer. He has two sons. One decides he wants to leave. He wants to take half of his possessions that are going to be he's going to inherit normally when the father dies, but he wants it up front. So he goes, he squanders it. He realizes that he's serving somebody else in a foreign land, and he's eating with the pigs, and he just wishes he could even be treated like his father's servants were. So he comes back not feeling worthy. His father not only accepts him, he embraces him, brings him into the house, throws a big feast, slaughters their prize lamb or their prize livestock, and they throw a big party. But what's lost in the shuffle was the older brother, who had been there all along, who had been there with his dad, serving faithfully. And he feels slighted. He's not rejoicing. He's like, I've been here with you all along. You've never thrown me a party. He's thinking in the flesh. And I've read that so many times, and I've always related to him because I'm like, I feel like I've been a good person, a good kid, a good student, a good whatever. Far from a saint. But I've always just thought, okay, I just need to accept in humility or something in my own will. And like there was something that wasn't clicking until today. You just think of what God sending his son in the form of Jesus to die for us, to show us the difference between living in the flesh and living in the spirit. When he rose from the dead, that's when everybody, even his closest followers that were running from him in fear, manned up because they realized, wow, everything he said about the spirit and life after death is true, because there's something so far beyond what we are living in right now. And that's the spirit. That's the eternal. That is our home when we accept Jesus Christ. But Jesus Christ had to come and die for us. And when the prodigal son comes back and his brother can't be happy for him, it's because he's seeing him in the flesh. He's not seeing him in the spirit. Now, if his brother had physically died and his brother mourned his death physically, and his brother showed up, risen and alive, I'm pretty sure his brother would have been rejoicing with his dad. Oh my gosh, thank God, you're back. How? You were dead. He doesn't comprehend that he was dead in the spirit. He doesn't comprehend that. But the spirit is beyond the reality of the world we live in. It's beyond anything we can comprehend. That's why it's faith. We walk in faith and have that faith and put it in Christ and in the Father. And then you can comprehend and relate to the brother of the prodigal son, because he was seeing everything through the lens of the flesh, feeling like he was sacrificing, he was doing this, and he wasn't receiving any rewards, not realizing his reward, he already has it, because he's alive in the spirit, whether he knew it or not, and he needed that wake-up call. But that's the lesson in that. That's the lesson that God is telling us through the story of the prodigal son. Forget about the flesh. Forget about this world. Forget about everything we want in this world. This is so temporary. It's ephemeral. It's short-lived. It seems like every day can last forever, and these hard times and tough times can last forever, but they really don't. When you think about the magnitude of forever, eternity, this is nothing. The blemishes on the skin, the aches and pains we feel, it's physical. It's nothing. That's why he also says in Matthew 10:28, fear not who can kill the body, but who can kill the body and the soul. Because who cares about the body? When you see the truth that we were created and that Creator sent his son to die for us, to tell us the difference between what it means to live in the spirit and the flesh, and to differentiate and discern and to live with love and to spread that truth, a truth that is continued to be covered up and hidden and just sprinkled about with a lot of lies to confuse everybody. When you realize that and you start living and trying to live in that spirit that he was showing us with the prodigal son and the heartbreak that his older brother couldn't see it, he wants us to see it. He wants us to see, you are alive when you accept me. You are alive. Don't worry about what anybody else is doing. If somebody comes back, if you think they're having fun in the flesh, mourn for them. Pray that their eyes are open spiritually. Because if it's not, if the brother had never turned around, if the prodigal son had never realized that and he had gone on and doubled his money and lived in the flesh, he would have been dead for eternity. But his brother didn't see that, and that's why he couldn't appreciate that spiritual transformation, that spiritual renewal, that when his father said he was dead and now he's alive, he meant in the spirit. And that's what God, through his son, Jesus Christ, wanted to show us all. So, again, I'm a little bit excited. It's a simple truth that I feel like many people that are probably much more spiritually inclined and wise than I am have seen it like that for a long time. But it just literally clicked what that story really represents and how powerful it is. Doesn't mean it's going to be easy to accept every day, but when you do, it truly will set you free. No matter what you're going through, focus on the Spirit and follow Christ to the Father. And then your ultimate destination is already promised to you. You just want to get closer to that by following and looking to the Spirit. And you do that by getting in the Word. So you can start with Luke 15, the story of the prodigal son. I hope you guys have a blessed day, and maybe I'll talk to you soon.